Welcome and thank you for joining us for the second half hour, The Factor Uncensored. The big question tonight, is Hollywood not in the mood for sex scenes anymore? Sex scenes. A new report from The Economist says there's been less sex on big screens since 2000. Their data analysts looked at 250 of the top performing movies in the last 2 decades and found sex and nudity decreased by nearly 40%. Meantime, movies without sexual content have increased per year, going from 20%. We also ask, are sex scenes really needed? To 50%, well, really needed. Ignore that 50% part. Joining us to talk about it, sex expert and kinkologist Lady McCallum, mistress Genevieve, and actor Dee Valentine. So, Dee, you act in movies. What has been your experience with sex scenes, if at all?
I got a movie out actually right now, Killer Zaddy, and we had to cut down.
What was the name of that? What was the name?
Killer Zaddy. Killer Zaddy.
Okay.
Yeah. So, you know, it's some sex that could be in that movie. But we actually cut, you know, the sex scene down in half because it was just too much, you know. And I feel like a lot of people want these sex scenes to kind of make up for bad storytelling or bad acting. And I feel like if you're not going to do...
So you're saying, though, the people behind the scenes, those who are making the movies, when they have a bad story or they don't have the best actors, they want to sell it through sex.
Yeah, I think the best example may be, shout out to Tyler Perry, but, you know, the movie with Kelly Rowland and then Trevante, the art sex scene was the talk, you know, of the movie. But the rest of the movie, you know, everybody forgets. I will say that I think the reason why people want to see less of it is because maybe they're not being shot right, you know? We need some good sex scenes. I know in my world, we don't have too many good sex scenes. People not lotioning up, people not getting ready, and people not being sexy. So
what's the worst you've seen when somebody showed up to a sex scene? Or the worst you encountered, or the worst you smelled? What?
Smell-o-vision.
Well, I
Lady McCallum, you would ask.
No,
I mean,
I would ask.
You would.
You know, I think that maybe personally people are not doing it right. So professionally, how could you? You know. So when you get in front of those cameras and it's time to act, acting has something to do with a little bit of personal experience sometimes. So nobody can teach you how to do a sex scene.
Right.
You got to know how to do it. You got to add your own personal flair to it. So I feel like people want to see less of the sex scenes because they're not being done well.
All right, Lady McCallum, let's bring you and Genevieve in on this. Your thoughts on this, both of you guys.
I'm Gen X. I come from watching almost softcore porn on your Saturday mornings and Sunday mornings on UHF. So I don't know. I was watching a lot of that, and that's what made a lot of those horrible movies great.
Well, I think the point of what you made about how they're not shooting them right. I think lately, like, none of us want to see another Adam Sandler movie where Adam Sandler marries a hottie like Selma Hayek.
No,
it's not realistic, okay? Nobody wants to see that anymore. People want more realistic scenes. They want more realistic love, more realistic sex.
Bisexual lighting, too.
Yes, yes. like, it doesn't need to be, like, I mean, come on. Up until very recently, everything was shot in the male gaze. It just was. It was. This isn't something that's to be debated about. This is just true. So we need to bring more people in that are women-friendly, queer-friendly, like bisexual lighting. Like, if you do it more to everyone and more to 51% of the population that's women, you're going to get more, like, better sex scenes. Because we don't just want some middle-aged man and an 18-year-old in a movie anymore. It's just ridiculous. It's overplayed.
And how they don't understand foreplay.
Thank you. Like, come on, man. Foreplay can be sexier than sex.
So we need another 50 Shades of Grey.
Don't get me started on 50 Shades of Grey.
But the foreplay is the sex scene, because if you're watching two people hump in a sex scene, it's just...
But let me ask you this. With the current state of the internet and what we know, OnlyFans and all of that, would people be more likely, look, I'm going to get some banging, real banging, and that's all I want.
Not necessarily.
Let me finish. On OnlyFans, but on the movies, I'm not really interested in seeing that around family members and friends.
No,
If
I don't
it's
know.
done right, you don't care.
Right.
I mean,
I beg to differ. If you've got your family and friends around, you don't want to see sex scenes.
But if it's done right, it's not full-on sex, it's foreplay. And so you have a wider range of what can be filmed that is enticing and arousing.
More
that
like a
is
tease.
not. It's the tease action.
Well,
it's not the actual.
Dee, let me ask you about that.
Yeah.
From your perspective as just a person, do you want to watch sex scenes or foreplay with family members and friends on TV?
Well, I'm not into that kind of thing. But
No, seriously. Because
I mean,
she's got,
yeah.
I think you have an extreme perspective on this.
Right,
yeah,
When
right.
we talk about, because I mean, when you're sitting with your family, and your kid, you don't want to see that.
Oh,
on
definitely
TV.
not
I
kids,
was watching
no.
Best Little Whorehouse of Texas with my mother at like 7. So.
Well, see, for me,
But I mean, that was more of a comedy and a musical.
But that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying is
Yeah.
the sex scenes in that are a wide spectrum of sexuality. It's not a short segment of sexuality. It's the full spectrum.
I
of
guess
the,
in context too, right?
yeah, it's a full set. Like when she shows up in the bedroom with Burt Reynolds and she's in her lingerie, and it is a sex scene, but it's not a penetration scene.
Right.
It's sexuality on screen.
I never thought about it when
Yeah.
you said it's a sex scene, but without penetration.
Right.
It's not a penetration
It's a
scene.
sensual scene, not
Yeah,
a sex scene.
it's a foreplay scene.
Yeah.
It's a sex lead up.
Yeah.
And do you guys foresee it ever coming back in movies? Really quick, the last 20 seconds
The
we have
way
here.
that the political valley is right now, no, I don't. I think it's only going to get worse.
Everything's for streaming anyway, so
This is true.
people are going to go straight for the movies that they want on a streaming service, which means that the things that are big box office hits are not going to be the stuff that has the sex scenes like Netflix has. The
That's fair.
Netflix and the streaming services will have the stuff that doesn't show up in a theater, that doesn't show up on your broadcast TV, and it will be proprietary ship.
All right. We want to thank you guys for joining us here. We can go all night.
All night.
Yeah, especially when it comes to film.
We can go all night.